What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Ben the Jeep Guy channel. I'm your host, Ben the Jeep Guy. Today, we're talking about track bars. Back in 2011, I bought a track bar from Andy over at Ironman 4x4 Fabrication. I bought his Gen 1. It was a pretty sweet design. Worked really well. He has since then made several upgrades to his design. Now we're on Gen 2. Gen 1 design utilized the OEM track bar bracket with some modifications to it. Now he makes his one-off bracket, adds a brace to it, has redesigned the frame-in joint with a Barnes 4x4 Enduro joint on it. He now uses Clevite rubber at the axle end, which I've already upgraded that part. Today we're going to install the rest of the other upgraded parts to his Gen 2 system. But the Gen 1 system was actually pretty ingenious, so I'd like to show it to you guys, just so you can see where it came from the Gen 1 to the Gen 2. And then we'll pull it off, set it all on the table, can get a better look at it, and then we'll get all the Gen 2 parts put on it and buttoned up, and I'm really looking forward to this. But let's take a look at the Gen 1 design.
Alright guys, you can see here, this is Andy's Gen 1 design. It reutilizes the factory track bar bracket, drills out the main hole for the tie rod style joint on the factory track bar, and he provides this adapter bracket to turn the track bar into a double shear design. He says you don't have to weld it in, but honestly when I was going through the installation process, I just didn't see how it wouldn't move around if you didn't weld it in. It wasn't a bad design, it was actually pretty smart, but his new design really is nice. It positions this end of the track bar in a better position under a lifted Jeep, and it allows for the use of that brace that he's come up with that ties into the other side. So let's get this one pulled off, and then I can lay this out on the table. We can kind of take a better look at both the new and old designs, and then we'll get it put back on.
Alright guys, as you can see, I have all the parts and pieces laid out here of the track bar. Got the track bar itself, which we're reusing. This is the old OEM track bar bracket with the double shear adapter. As you can see right inside there's a nut. Andy said that you could just use that to hold it in place, but in his directions he recommended welding it. I honestly just didn't see how this was going to hold it down because you couldn't really tighten it down, so I opted to weld it. Like I said, it's a pretty smart design overall, but it didn't allow for the upgraded parts and pieces like the brace and to relocate the track bar into a better position. I'll show you why he's relocated it a little bit. If you see here, this is the original joint at the frame end. It's actually got a couple marks here where it was rubbing on the diff for the front axle. So that's why he relocated a little bit forward and a little bit up out of the way to prevent this from happening again. And as you can see here, here's the Enduro joint from Barnes 4x4 that he has integrated into the flex end. It's really awesome. It's got all the same adjustability as the previous one. The track bar bracket is really heavy duty. It's 1/4 inch thick steel. It uses all the factory mounting hardware, so it bolts right up with the factory bolts. Got the cool logo from Ironman 4x4 right there on the side. It's also got the holes pre-drilled in it for the brace. This is a really beefy brace. I really like it a lot, or a bracket, excuse me. And here's the brace right here. That thing is pretty beefy. You can see he's folded it up on the sides to give it some strength. And it ties into the other, quote, frame rail. I know that XJs are unibody and they don't have a real frame rail, but they do have things that act like the frame rail, and that's what it ties into on the other side. But I want to show you guys what really sets Andy's track bar apart from all the other ones out there. That is not a hole that travels down the entire length of the track bar itself. It was just drilled in there so he could put it on his lathe. But this is a solid steel bar. From end to end, this is a solid steel bar. This is not tubing. This is not DOM tubing like everybody else uses. This is a solid steel bar. You will not bend this. You will break something on the Jeep before this thing ever bends. It's really impressive. So with all that, we're going to get this threaded on and this bolted in place. We're going to get everything popped in place and get this bad boy put on. So let's go get started with that.
Alright guys, if you couldn't tell in the background of that last scene, it was starting to get dark out. I really just needed to focus on getting the Jeep done. Luckily, I was just about finished, so you really didn't miss out on a whole lot. But what I can say is, wow, what a change in the way this old Jeep handles. I've been able to drive on it for a couple of days now, get some nice experience with it, and it is incredible the way the Jeep drives. And combined with just some stock style replacement parts from Moog and the Iron Rock HD tie rod, this Jeep handles better than it has in the last 15 years that I've owned it. It's incredible to see how much handling is lost in a poor track bar setup. Now, Andy's first generation wasn't bad. It met a budget. It was strong. It just wasn't very firm. So there was a lot of handling loss in it. Now, with the steering setup that I have and Andy's new track bar setup, it really doesn't get much better than this. If you're on a 31 to even up to a 35, if you don't wheel too terribly hard, this steering setup and Andy's track bar setup is going to be perfect. It's going to be great for everything that you can throw at it. The only improvements beyond this now would be to go to a little bit heavier duty steering setup, but the track bar setup is going to be, there's not going to be anything better. There really isn't. I can't say much more about it. Don't forget to like this video, and if you haven't already done it, make sure to subscribe. I hope to have some more DIY stuff coming here soon, so stay tuned, and I'll see you next time. And as always, keep Jeeping.